Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. And as they close, allow your breathing to slow down and notice that with your eyes closed, you're able to give more of your attention to the sound of my voice. As you breathe in, just imagine breathing in a bright, vibrant color of resourceful relaxation. Imagine it going in through the nose, filling your lungs with this feeling of resourcefulness. And as you exhale, just get a sense that stress, tension, any worries or anxieties are leaving your body in your outward breath. And as they leave, imagine a darker color leaving your body, representing that tension, that stress. Breathing in that resourceful feeling, a bright vibrancy, exhaling tension, stress, darker shadows leaving your body. Simply by breathing in and breathing out, consider this an emotional transfusion. Breathing in what you need, exhaling what you don't. And sometimes those things that we're holding on to aren't even real. What is pressure, apart from the idea of demands, things you should have done, need to do? Here in this moment, nothing is necessary. So allow any feelings of pressure to just leave your body. Any shame are from judgments that are long past. So as you breathe in that resourceful feeling, just allow any feelings of shame to leave your body. As you consider the process of breathing in and breathing out, wiping the slate clean, letting go of the past, and letting go of the tension linked to the past. I want you to notice where in your body there's feelings of tension. It could be around your eyelids, your forehead, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. And the clue is always tension that is only noticeable when you increase the tension first. So on the next inward breath, I want you to amplify any tension in your face, your jaw. Try and tense all the muscles as much as you can, so that as you exhale, you can let go of that tension and more. That's it. On the next inward breath in, tense all the muscles in your neck and your shoulders. And as you exhale, release that tension. That's it. And in doing so, just feel like a weight is lifting from your shoulders, allowing that relaxation to spread down from the top of your head all the way downwards to the tip of your toes. And as your body relaxes, imagine that the power of your imagination is being activated. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a beach in Thailand. Initially, you can see that beach perhaps from the sky, or imagine a postcard or a picture and just imagine seeing that beach, but then imagine going into the beach. But on this particular day, imagine the beach is completely private, just for you. And feel how you would feel if you were on that beach. You are breathing in that sea air. You are feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. Hearing the sound of the waves. And I want you to get a sense that you're feeling deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. I want you to feel what it would feel like to be lying on that beach. And maybe you can connect to a similar state that you feel maybe when you're doing yoga, when you get the breathing just right, when the focus is such that it feels like you're a million miles away from reality, that the mind-body connection is there, and you're able to feel that wonderful feeling of calmness and inner peace. And maybe you can imagine lying on a beach on a towel, on a lounger, on a cabana, whatever comes to mind that would make you feel the most relaxed. And very soon I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and with each descending number you're going to feel deeper and deeper relaxed, feeling a desire to yawn, feeling your head, your arms, your legs feeling limp, loose and heavy, melting away all tension. 10, eyelids feeling heavier, releasing any tension. 9, noticing any tension in your forehead, top of your head, breathing in that resourceful feeling of relaxation just there on that beach. And then as you exhale, just releasing that tension. That's it. 8, just focusing now on your jaw. Just imagine your jaw like an old piece of machinery that's being oiled, giving it a new lease of life, just feeling like you can release that tension. That's it. And as you release the tension in your jaw, notice that you can breathe even deeper. So on the number 7, just feel like that inward breath is filling you with relaxation. And as you exhale, tension is leaving your neck, your shoulders, almost feeling like your head is just a helium balloon just floating there on a string. That's it. And then 6, really connect to that feeling of tension in your shoulders, all the way down your arms, all the way down to the tips of your fingers. I want you to imagine someone that you know yawning. And just the idea of yawning fills you with that pleasant feeling of relaxation, calm and tranquil. As you hear the waves gently breaking on the shore, just get a sense that you are going deeper and deeper relaxed. And then 6, focus on your internal organs. Allow your lungs to relax, your heart to relax, stomach, diaphragm, all the way down into your gut. Allow any anxiety to melt away there in your gut. That's it. 4, going down into your legs feeling limp, loose, heavy. 3 and then 2, and just imagine what it would be like to have a calm, tranquil nap there on that beach, allowing your imagination to take you on a journey of 2 different futures, 2 and then 1, then falling asleep, eyelids feeling so heavy, deeply relaxed there on that private beach, no one else around, feeling far away from reality. And I want you to imagine that you are separating from your body and you can see your life like you're someone else. And I want you to imagine that you are a private detective following your life over the next 20 or 30 years, as a smoker. You could imagine returning home from that beach holiday and maybe seeing that minutes after you wake up, you're already starting to smoke. Whatever justifications you're telling yourself are simply that, justifications to facilitate doing something that you feel like you want or need. And there is a cost. And the cost isn't the smell or the money. It's not even lung capacity. The real cost is being a liar, a fraud, a hypocrite. And I want you to be that invisible private detective following your life as you continue to be sneaky, hidden, smoking in cars or spare rooms, hiding behind the side of buildings, hoping that you don't get seen. And you might get away with that for a while, but I want you to follow this life as weeks turn into months and months turn into years. And sometimes there are open secrets that sometimes people just accept that people are one way in front of certain people and a different way in front of different people. And maybe for a while you see yourself with that open secret that maybe friends know that you smoke, maybe family members know that you smoke, but there's people that don't. Some people would call that duplicity, two-faced, untrue, a fake. But you decide what emotions come up for you as you observe this version of you living a life where not everyone sees what they get. And I want you to go to a future event where someone will form beliefs and opinions and emotions if they were to know the truth. And I want you to witness a heartbreaking moment where someone that sees you as one way discovers that they've been lied to for many years. You're just an invisible spectator witnessing this scene, but imagine it happening. And you can hear the words leaving your mouth, maybe excuses, justifications. But deep down you know that you are living a lie. And you were living a lie for good intentions. But now those good intentions has caused you to be seen differently. And maybe this change in perception has a ripple effect. And maybe you can see someone you care about so much using the fact that it's okay to say one thing and do something else because that's what their mother did. And I want you to see a chain reaction of what could happen. See that chain reaction. See what happens or could happen as a result of a belief about what you stand for changing. You can go forward maybe 5 or 10 years in the future And maybe you're still continuing to see yourself to smoke. But maybe you don't have to be secretive anymore, because everyone that didn't know now knows. And then maybe that makes you smoke even more. But I want you to see someone that feels that they've fallen short of their own expectations. I want you to see someone that has failed at something that they wanted to do but couldn't do. And I want you to see the consequences of you being someone that has failed in the eyes of those people you care about the most. What does it do to your confidence, your self-esteem, your overall feelings of happiness and joy? But I want you to follow the life of maybe one or both of your children, and seeing that by you being a smoker, it gives them permission to also smoke. To use substances to deal with stress, to use substances to deal with anxiety, to use substances recreationally, socially. And I want you to see that that could create a chain reaction that leads to negative consequences. And again, you're just this invisible private detective witnessing a devastating consequence that could happen as a direct result of you being a smoker in your future. And I want you to witness something so devastating that you wish you could turn back time and be who those people that you loved the most thought you already were. And when you arrive at that conclusion, if only I could go back in time and do things differently, let me know by nodding your head. And at that point, I want you to imagine everything happening in rewind. Everything happens backwards. All the years rewind to a single moment where you feel like you're witnessing yourself at this point in time. And I want you to observe, again as that private detective, a different timeline, a different future, where over the next few days you're preparing to become a non-smoker. Maybe you're putting a date in the calendar, a date at which you're going to be a non-smoker, and see yourself successfully making the transition at that date. I want you to observe yourself that in that first couple of weeks of no longer consuming any nicotine, you decide to make that tunnel a short tunnel rather than a long tunnel. No patches, no gum, no inhalers. Knowing that your body might crave nicotine, but it will dissipate. And I want you to see a version of you that is busying yourself with a project or something that would occupy your thoughts and your mind in that 2 or 3 week window. Even if it's things that you wouldn't normally do. Maybe you see yourself trying to learn a language that you always wanted to learn anyway. See yourself taking a course of that skill that you wanted to get good at. Maybe taking up art and trying to create something that requires all of your attention. I want you to see yourself doing something that deliberately distracts yourself in that time where the nicotine is leaving your body. And you see from your expression that it gets easier and easier. You're able to travel to places in the car and not smoke. You're able to wake up and you don't disappear into a spare room. Able to spend more time with your children, helping them get ready for the day. I want you to see a version of you that's able to See your children in sports like athletics, but not hiding in the shadows. I want you to see a version of you that can enjoy relaxing in the evening without needing to consume any nicotine. I want you to see a version of you that is able to socialize with friends, but you don't feel like you're missing out or being left out, because you respect that there are friends that do things that you don't do without you needing to do them. So therefore you can do something that others don't do without any feeling of sacrifice, no loss, no missing out. And I want you to observe that the main thing that you like about this future is you're being authentic. What you see is what you get. No hiding, no sneakiness, no shame. No having to hide who you are from your children. That your children could ask you to your face, "Mummy, do you smoke?" And you could look them straight in the eye and say, "No, I used to, but I don't do that." And I want you to get a sense of pride that this is a version of you that is aligned with your values. Someone that is a role model. Someone showing their children that they can deal with emotions and not need substances to do that. Someone that doesn't need to fill their time with things that make them a slave to a drug. I want you to see that you're also seeing yourself utilizing that time in a way that enables you to find something you're passionate about, something that stimulates you intellectually and emotionally. What if giving up smoking is the best thing that could happen to you? Because as one chapter ends, a new chapter begins, and I want you to see a version of you living your best life. What if giving up smoking is a catalyst for a new version of you that uses that privilege of time, but also all the resources that used to be deployed for a business, a company, and now you can deploy it to pursue your own goals, your own hobbies, your own projects. That the stimulation you used to get from nicotine, you're now getting from pursuits, projects, activities. That the dopamine you used to get from nicotine, you're now getting from a sense of accomplishment from doing useful, significant, challenging things. And I want you to see that your children are seeing this version of you. Someone that lives life on their terms, someone that doesn't fail, someone that sets their target on what they want to achieve and achieves it. That you're becoming a role model, an inspiration, an example, showing them how to deal with all the kind of things that life will inevitably throw at them too. But you're showing them that it isn't what you say, it's what you do. And at the point where you feel that this is an infinitely more desirable future than a future of shame and sneakiness and hypocrisy, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to step into that future and to accept the suggestion that sometime very soon, this is not a possibility, this is a destiny. This is not something you should do, it's something you're doing. And perhaps you already know when that time will be. Or maybe you set the intention to decide when that time will be. Because the moment your needs are met in a more elegant, sustainable way, why would you go back to old habits linked to deceitfulness, shame, embarrassment, and failure, when you can get those same needs being met through something that makes you feel proud and accomplished, inspired and motivated? And at the point where all parts are now convinced that this is the future that you're heading towards, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to think of what's holding you back, and to realize that whatever's holding you back from making this change can be met in different ways. It's not a requirement that if you're no longer smoking that you can't drink. It's not a requirement that if you're not smoking that you can't socialize. And it's not a foregone conclusion that if you don't use cigarettes or electronic cigarettes to deal with stress or boredom, that you can't replace that with something else. So if your mind accepts that you want the future of a non-smoker and that your needs can be met in more effective, positive ways, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get a sense that perhaps you're days or weeks away from this future. But you will look at these final days of being a smoker not as something that you're about to lose, but as an addiction that was enslaving you that you're about to be free of. And you know it must be enslaving you because it would take something like that to make you want to lie and deceive the people you care about the most. So tap into this idea that you can be free of needing to lie, needing to be ashamed, that you can be who you really want to be and leave all that behind. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose, and feel like you're returning to that version of you there on that beach in Thailand. And imagine accepting that very soon you will be free of an addiction, and it's the freedom you're focused on. And then find yourself returning to your body in this moment, in the present, listening to my voice. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and get a sense that you're fully integrating into this moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.